On April 18, 2020, Sarah Grace and Thomas Richardson welcomed the arrival of their second son, Everett. What was supposed to be a joyful occasion was overshadowed by Sarah's extreme fatigue and headaches that started just days before giving birth.
You know, I've been really sick, I've not been sleeping, that's probably why I'm having these headaches, but they were very severe and it felt like I was being struck by lightning. It was just so painful.
The day after they brought Everett home, Sarah noticed her legs seemed to be weakening. Then, soon after,
Had taken the nap and I was like trying to get up and I was just like, honey, my right side won't move at all. And I remember just seeing this look of panic on his face and just my heart was pounding in my chest because that was when I knew, okay, something very serious is wrong.
Thomas rushed his wife to the emergency room at Greensburg Hospital in Indiana, where a CT scan revealed multiple blood clots in Sarah's brain. Meanwhile, Thomas had been asked to leave.
Because of COVID, I said goodbye to her at the hospital in Greensburg. I didn't know if she was going to make it or not.
Thomas had a family member call Sarah's mom, Chris.
I was terrified. My husband and I pretty much ran out the door to go, and at that point I was sobbing and just saying, Lord, please don't take her. Please don't take her.
Within the hour, Sarah was completely paralyzed and transferred to Indianapolis University Methodist for further evaluation. Doctors determined she had a cerebral venous sinus thrombosis, or CVST, a rare form of stroke that causes bleeding in the brain. Even if she survived, Sarah could be paralyzed for life or lose cognitive function.
I just was afraid that she wasn't going to be herself anymore. I wasn't concerned as much about her being paralyzed as her not knowing who I was or being able to communicate how she was feeling.
To complicate matters, the blood thinners doctors needed to use to dissolve the clots could make the bleeding in her brain worse and even cost Sarah her life.
Part of me had the peace of knowing, okay, if this is my time, you know, I know what awaits me in eternity, but just this terror and sorrow of not being ready to leave my family.
Although COVID prevented Sarah's family and friends from visiting, it didn't stop them from praying.
I believe that God is in control of everything, and yet He moves at the prayers of His children. I was very at peace that God's will was going to be done and that He was listening.
We believe that God is going to heal Sarah. But more important than Sarah's healing is for God to be glorified and for Christ to be made much of. That mattered more than anything.
The next morning, the doctors gave them hopeful news. The brain bleeds had resolved themselves.
Those bleeds didn't resolve themselves. God did that. God did that because that's the power of prayer.
We got to FaceTime with Sarah, and she was very slow, and I kept waiting for her to say something that didn't make any sense, but she was herself. She was the same person that I married.
While doctors could now aggressively treat the blood clots, Sarah was still paralyzed and faced an uncertain future. Even then, she chose to believe and trust God with the outcome.
And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for your prayers. They mean so much to me.
Lord, I don't know what you're doing with this, but I know that it's big, and I know that it is for a great purpose.
At home with their sons, Thomas faced the possibility that his wife, their mother, might never be the same.
Reading bedtime stories to Bear, the ones that his mom would read to him the week before, and I could hardly get the words out. That was what was hard.
I would be feeding the baby or playing with blocks with Bear and just praying aloud. Lord, she needs to be here. These boys need her.
The community continued to pray, still believing for complete healing. Then, after 2 long weeks in the hospital,
And all of a sudden I could just do this. And I was so excited, and I kept calling people in the room, and I'm like, look at my fingers, they're moving.
Look at her go.
Lots and lots of little miracles happened to where it was like slowly accumulating to where she could move more and more.
eventually Sarah was sent to inpatient rehab, where by all reports, she made remarkable progress. 2.5 weeks later, on May 22nd, she got the news. She was going home.
It was like this swelling up in my chest, and I felt like I was just gonna bubble over with joy.
The doctors thought she was going to remain a quadriplegic. She walked in the house, sat down on the floor, and held her kids. It was amazing.
Sarah continued to improve, and her 6-month checkup revealed all the clots had disappeared. She's healthy, joyful, and back with the one she loves.
It was incredible because I believe with my whole heart that there is power in prayer.
There'll be just times when I look at her now and I'm just like, wow, you're here. And I didn't know if you ever would be again.
When I see Sarah cleaning her house, playing with her boys, doing all the things that she loves to do, those are all just reminders of God's goodness and of His power.